just going to use as many of these vocabulary words in the paragraph as you can. So you're writing a paragraph about whatever you want, whatever comes to mind, whatever suits the words, and you're incorporating this vocabulary. So let me choose this color blue. You might not be able to use them all, and that's fine. And your paragraph can be any length. You still want it to make sense. So it shouldn't just be a bunch of random sentences put together with these vocabulary words stuck in there. You still want to write something that makes sense, but you're trying to incorporate these vocabulary words as you write. Are there any questions before we start? Let's give this 10 to 12 minutes. We have to be done by like 6:20 at the latest in order to review everyone's. Are there any questions about any of the words or anything else before we start? And you're working on things like your comma use and other issues each time you write. Obviously, you're trying to perfect all those skills. If there are no questions, you can go ahead and start, submit your paragraph when you are done. If you do not need the whole 10, 12 minutes, that is fine. To review the word verbose, right? When I find myself with people that are a lot like me, I can become quite verbose, eager to share my thoughts and engage in lively discussion. Good. That's a really nicely constructed sentence. I like the formula of it. I like that it is different. I like that it has an introductory clause. When I find myself with people that are a lot like me, comma, correct. I can become quite verbose, comma, correct. Eager to share my thoughts and engage in lively discussion. Really well written. It's just a sentence, but it shows that you can write well, which I already knew, but it's good to see. The eclectic bookstore, hidden among the city's skyscrapers, contained a variety of books that were especially curated by the laconic owner. Good. However, we do not use a comma before that. So we wouldn't use a comma between a subject and that, but we also do not use a comma when we write a sentence, for example, that says and that or but that. When there is that involved, you're not going to need a comma. It's creating a direct correlation between a direct connection between the ideas, but you don't use a comma before it. That's just how it works. Don't use a comma before that. Contained a variety of books that were especially curated. Now, if you were to hear that, Claire, and think about whether you needed a comma, that would mean that you were creating a pause between the subject and that. And I'm sure if you heard that, you would know it was awkward. So contained a variety of books that were especially curated. It sounds awkward if you sound it out with that pause. So that should tell you that you don't need a comma either. Compared to the many verbose salesmen everywhere, he believed that the books themselves do the talking. I love this. This is such a concise paragraph, and it tells a whole story. It works perfectly with all the words. That's very good, Claire, that you were able to incorporate the words there, except for trivialize, which is fine. You incorporated three of the words here, right? Eclectic, verbose, laconic, and it all makes sense together in this really brief paragraph. Really, really nice. Awesome. Okay, perfect. And we talked about a new comma issue, which is that when you introduce the word that, again, even after a coordinating conjunction, it's going to then tell you that you do not need the comma. So just keep that in mind.